What's up, Heat Nation? My name is Amir, and this is the Team to Beat channel. This is my first video, and on this channel, I'm going to focus on everything related to the Miami Heat. So for my first video, I want to talk about and recap the Miami Heat victory over the #1 seed Boston Celtics in a overtime thriller on Saturday night. The Miami Heat beat the Celtics 120-116 in overtime in Boston at the TD Garden. This was definitely Miami's biggest win of the season, not only because it was against the top-seeded Boston Celtics, but it was huge because the Miami have not had a signature victory. They've been struggling quite a bit this season. They're still below 500 after 23 games. So the Heat improved to 11-12 on the season. They're currently in the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference, which is definitely not where I predicted or saw the team would be after 23 games. But nonetheless, the Miami Heat finally had their signature victory that they needed this season. The Heat are finally getting healthy at the right time. Jimmy Butler returned to the starting lineup, and he looked amazing after missing over 2 weeks. He finished with an impressive double-double. He had 25 points and 15 rebounds on 12 of 21 shooting. Jimmy was just super clutch. He hit 2 incredible shots, one at the end of the regulation to put the Heat up by 3, which helped the Heat go up temporarily until Jaylen Brown hit a desperation 35-foot three-point heave off the backboard. He took the shot, I think, with like 2 or 3 seconds left on the shot clock. So he definitely rushed the shot. It was fluky. I mean, he's an amazing player. He obviously was crushing it that game, but nonetheless, like, super lucky shot that allowed Boston to go into overtime against the Heat. And again, the Heat were up by 2 with around 20 seconds or so to go, and Jimmy Butler hit another clutch dagger, a mid-range elbow jumper, nothing but net, which put the Heat up by 4 and helped them ultimately close the game. So Jimmy Butler, or should I say Himmy Butler, it's great to have him back. The game was close throughout pretty much the entire first half, but Boston started gaining momentum towards the third quarter. They went on a big run, and they started to gather a large lead until Miami finally responded and had one of their own leads. So as we know, the NBA is about runs, so it was a game of runs. The Heat looked really sharp defensively down the stretch, and most importantly, Jason Tatum was actually held in check. So Jaylen Brown went off. He had 37 points, but Jason Tatum, who dropped 50 almost, he had 49 points when the Heat played against the Celtics a few nights before, struggled to shoot the ball tonight, and he only finished with 14 points, and he shot 5 of 18 from the field. And I think a big part of that reason why was the Jimmy Butler effect, who took the initiative to guard Tatum. So not only did Jimmy Butler have an amazing game, but he did receive help from the Heat main guys. And this was definitely the best offensive game that the Heat starters have had together. So 4 players had over 20 points. So Tyler Hero chipped in. He had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 6 from 10 from 3. He had some clutch threes in the fourth quarter in order to keep the Heat within the game and to help initiate that run. Kyle Lowry also super effective, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 8 for 13 shooting on the night. Bam has continued to be aggressive, and he is just looking amazing over the past 4 games. So he had 28 points, 7 rebounds. But over the past 4 games, Bam has been averaging 30 points, 8.3 rebounds, shooting 61% from field goal range, and also shooting 96% from the free throw line. He's going to the free throw line more, which is helping elevate his offensive game. So it's been great to see Bam continue to elevate his game, especially on the offensive side, because we already know Bam is one of the best defenders in the entire NBA. So the role players also helped in this game as well. Caleb Martin pitched in with around 10 points. he provided pretty good defense like he typically does. Haywood Highsmith, who is considered a Miami Heat scrub, according to Heat Nation, and it's not controversial, but a lot of folks were just wondering why Spoelstra was playing him over the past few games. And one, it was because of injuries, right? So we've had a lot of folks in and out of the lineup, especially at the guard position. And so Haywood, though, has just been playing pretty great over the last week or so. And specifically, he didn't do much on the offensive end this game. He only had one bucket, but he was really clutch. He had a clutch floater in the fourth quarter, and also he was super versatile in terms of defense in the fourth quarter and in overtime. So just wanted to give him his flowers. Didn't think I'd be giving flowers to a player who only scored 2 points, but he played 28 minutes and was highly effective on the defensive end. So this is a big-time win, again, for the Miami Heat. This is definitely going to help boost their confidence. They're finally getting close to having a fully healthy roster. I say that as though Victor Oladipo and Omer Yurtseven haven't played a single game this season, but it sounds like Victor Oladipo is getting closer. They're just apparently being extra safe with Vic. So he could be weeks away from joining the Heat. I know Jovic is still out. Not sure what his timetable is. But yeah, we're getting close. Dedmon should be back as well. Or Dedmon did play, actually, excuse me. So he missed a few games. But we're finally getting healthy, which is good, just because this team just hasn't had consistency with their roster. So I think once they start incorporating these different players, I think the biggest asset, one of the biggest assets for the Heat, hopefully moving forward, would be their depth. And Victor Oladipo is going to give the Heat another defender on their bench, but then he's hopefully going to be playing in that Tyler Hero role. So health is the biggest concern always with Victor Oladipo, so I'm not sure how effective he's going to be or how long it's going to take for him to ramp up. But based on last season, after he missed pretty much the entire regular season, he came back for the last 9 games, and then he played about 15 games in the playoffs, I believe, and he looked pretty great. And he was a rotational player, in the playoffs with all of that rust. So he looked good in training camp. So I'm hoping that, even though he's missed 23 games, that he can get incorporated and get his wind quickly, so he could start helping this team get some much needed victories, right? So the Heat are torturous. I feel like every single game has been super close, especially within the last 5 minutes during that clutch time. So it's excruciating to watch a lot of these games. We've blown a lot of games, but I think we're finally moving into the right direction, and I think our schedule is going to get a little easier. So Miami's going to be traveling to Memphis to conclude this super difficult 4-game road trip on Monday, and then after that, I think the schedule gets a little bit easier. Let me double check to see real quick, just to confirm. So after the Grizzlies, the Heat are going to get the Pistons, the Clippers, the Spurs, the Pacers, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Spurs, the Bulls, Pacers. So it's definitely going to be an easier schedule. There's a few teams in there like the Clippers and the Pacers that might give the Heat some trouble, but other than that, I think the schedule is going to be very favorable, and so the Heat can definitely move up in the standings within the next few weeks or so. So that's it for my first video. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Talk to you guys soon.